Check. All right. I mean, I'll edit out this stuff here that I'm saying right now, but we are rolling. Oh crap! I don't have a script in front of us. How do we do our opening? It's been 100 episodes, and I don't.
And you don't know the script? Aaron, come on.
Let's make it do this off the dome. Welcome all to the Politics of Cinema. On this podcast, we believe films are never neutral. There's an artistic as well as a political message in every film, in every time period, in every country, and we're on the lookout for all of it. My name is Aaron Spears.
My name is Isaac Miller, and on this very, very special 100th episode of the Politics of Cinema, I originally really wanted to change the name of this because it felt a little too generic, and now we're 100 episodes in.
It's too late.
And it's way too late.
Or now is it the time?
We are covering a film which in many ways I think is foundational to the very conception of this podcast that inspired us, along with actually our original episode, Children of Men. We are actually doing a direct commentary, scene for scene.
Scene for scene. Playing along with you.
We're watching with you 2018's modern communist classic.
Masterpiece,
I would say, yes.
Yeah.
Boots Riley's Sorry to Bother
You. And we're looking at each other in the flesh, in person, in the same room today.
We're in the same room. Do you know the last time this happened?
I don't, actually.
Actually, the last time we recorded, I know we recorded like one episode together, like once.
Yeah.
I don't even remember which one.
Well, we have a lost episode, which will never be released because I don't have the audio file anymore, but one of our early test episodes was for Booksmart. We recorded a couple times.
Right.
That one, just because it was fun. We never got sick of watching it, and there's so much to talk about within that one.
Right. Maybe we'll go back to it someday.
Maybe. But for Sorry to Bother You, we also wanted to do something a little different.
Yes.
Not just for Sorry to Bother You, but for our 100th episode. So this is actually going to be, what would it be like if you just hung out with us and watched a movie, arguably in the most annoying way possible, because we're going to be talking the whole time, and that's not the way to watch a movie. But it's a hangout episode. We're able to get together to record in person. We both love the film. We've been talking about how to cover this film basically since 2018, and once we had a podcast created, I guess. And we kind of always joked, well, the only way to do it is like scene-by-scene commentary.
Yeah, functionally, because we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And originally, so one of the things when the podcast first started, if you look at our first episode, like late 2019, we're already talking about this idea of the Bay Area Renaissance.
Yes.
Which I don't think we see as much of anymore. I can think of like one recent movie that sort of would fit within it. But from like 2017, 2018, you got Blind Spotting, you got Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You got Fruitvale Station.
Which is 13, a little bit easier, or a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But I have these written down. That's why I didn't want to go off the dome with that. But there's also other ones in there that were like not as well talked about, like Kicks. When that played at Cedar Lee Theater, that one was from 2016 when we both worked at the Art House together.
Well, and what's...
if you go back far enough, Medicine for Melancholy.
Yeah,
I guess
Melancholy
there in 08. So... but the peak, was like definitely 18, 19, Sorry to Bother You, Last Black Man in San Francisco, Blind Spotting. Like, it was just like, what is going on with amazing regional filmmaking in San Fran, Oakland area right now? It's pretty unbelievable.
Have you seen Earth Mama?
I have not.
I think that would be another movie that would fit within that,
Okay.
and I'd like to check that out at some point.
What year is that one?
That's from last year.
Okay, so it's still going.
Yeah,
still going, but. Either way, there was this explosion of indie film too when you had that kind of last gasp before COVID at the Art House,
right? Where
something like this could make a splash and get some attention.
So Sorry to Bother You. One of the things about this podcast, of course, is that we do political movies and movies that were not made to be political,
right?
But this is one that was made to be political. We're going to talk about Boots Riley,
yes, quite a bit,
and. That's why we love it, right? Because it's the rare thing in American cinema these days where it's a straight-up leftist film. Hey, I'm answering that question before we...
Right, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, this is an absolutely leftist film.
Yeah.
But, so it's one of the rare movies that really, is just straight up that.
But also through a unique lens of, science fiction comedy.
Right.
Not and we cover plenty of preachy, right in your face, hey, look at this. politics wise.
Right.
This one kind of like coats it in sugar with like some laughs and some absurdity and some awesome commentary in a very satirical way about culture and art and all kinds of different things too.
It also had one of the most interesting reactions while working at the art house cinema.
Yeah, because we were like boots on the ground when this one came out, and we were getting audience reactions in our little, Cleveland bubble.
And what's interesting about it, so, just very quickly, and then we should start the movie.
Yeah.
The racial dynamics of indie theaters, at least pre-COVID, were very interesting because...
Especially ours in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, right. Because basically, under normal circumstances, I don't know if this is really true today, but, the bulk of our regulars would be seniors,
mm-hmm.
and they'd be maybe 15% black and then the rest white on an average.
Yeah.
But then when you had an indie movie directed by a black director
mm-hmm.
or with a major black star in it, and the first time I noticed this was The Shape of Water,
mm-hmm.
because it had a major black actor in it, suddenly it shifts.
The dynamic shift, yeah.
It shifts. And what you can see is there's a hunger for representation that just wasn't being actually
served or provided, yeah.
In your average indie movie. And this movie started that way. So Sorry to Bother You starts that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then very quickly, it becomes a generational issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I remember an older African-American woman coming out of this movie and walking up to me and saying, "That was the worst shit I've ever seen." Literally.
Yeah.
And it really seemed like older people, so basically along racial lines, many times did not get it.
Right.
And younger people across racial lines totally got it.
Or if they didn't get it, they were still just like, what the fuck? That was awesome. Because it was just crazy enough by the end.
Right.
So, yeah.
So this is a very special movie working experience for me, this one.
Yeah.
Along with,
because there's just an energy to it, too. People wanted to check it out. And also, people weren't spoiling it ahead of time for people. And I think this is a movie that you could spoil.
Yeah. Should we just introduce Boots Riley?
Let's do you want to do that? We'll be talking about him throughout, I would assume, too, as well.
Sure.
So we're falling into our usual pattern of, let's just start talking about the movie, when this time we can talk about the movie as the movie is happening.
That's true.
So what we're going to do is we have this queued up at 10 seconds into the movie. You should be seeing the Annapurna logo on your screen. That way you can sync it up. We'll do a 3, 2, 1 play, and then we're just going to be hanging out, talking about this film and some more memories of the film, probably, how it played, Boots Riley's music career, all kinds of stuff, regional filmmaking in general, and just hanging out with us, watching the movie. So if you don't have it queued up just yet, go ahead and, I guess, pause our voices, and we'll do a countdown here. Any other intro business maybe we skipped, Isaac?
No, let's do this.
Let's do this? All right. So we will do a 3, 2, 1, go. So when I say go, hit play on your streaming or physical media of choice. I would say, buy this one, own it. It's worth having in the collection.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do 3, 2, 1, go. We got Annapurna, the great tracking logo. Significant production. Logo passing by. Just making sure everybody's in sync here. I don't really remember all of these logos before the movie. You can kind of tell it's one of those you just cobbled together some financing from any place you can grab.
Well, this
financing.
This was like Boots' dream, right?
It was, yeah. The kickoff for this movie was actually his album Sorry to Bother You. And there's even a liner note on that disc that says this is a concept album for a film script. And I never thought I was going to be able to see it. You know what I mean? Because it, an artist, a band you love says they're doing something, and then you're like, yeah, I hope that comes to fruition, but not always going to work. So we start off with an interview here. Does this resemble any interviews you've been in, Isaac?
This is just like when you interviewed me to work at the movie theater. I had to explain to you my arrest record.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did not bring in a giant trophy, though, I got to say.
Yeah, so this is Lakeith Stanfield and opposite Robert Longstreet.
Great character actor. I mean, it's a good intro. We're dealing with someone who gets a job at a call center. I've worked as a telemarketer 3 different times. There's not a rigorous interview process usually. It's usually kind of, you're here, you're present, you want a job, can you read, can you follow the script, you're in. So it's already comedic that he's got like his buddy, what is his cousin that works there?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, you've got a recommendation. You're in there with your trophy, your employee of the year plaque. You're carrying around like you're going to get the job. Just
well, part of what's great about you think he's not going to get this job because the guy is just taking apart all of his lies about his actual.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's part of the Boots Riley touch, though, which is why I love his music so much. Is that it's directly commenting on something here, right? It's saying something about this interview process, what one person thinks it is, the balance of power here or whatever. But he's doing it in like an overtly satirical and comic way.
Well, it's that the fact that you cheated is what gets you the job because it shows that you've
right.
got
what you're willing to do.
Get up and go.
Yeah. Stuss. Stick to the script. The what is it, like the shitty acronyms that like any business has to like get you motivated to like, oh, we're going to implement this quarter and we're going to do a blah blah blah, like
there's sorry to bother you right up front.
And we got the music cue. We should say the Coup got together to do the soundtrack for this one, so a bunch of original Coup music as well mixed in here.
Well, what's the relationship of the Coup to Boots Riley?
Well, it's his band.
Yes. So Boots Riley is a longtime Oakland rapper, Bay Area rapper. Very, I think he's a Maoist, actually. You know, open.
Before he did
leftist.
the Coup, it was called the Mau Mau Collective that he had put together that was working with to do some music, and then it became the Coup pretty quickly.
Right.
We should say too. Now we got the introduction of Tessa Thompson. The great Tessa Thompson in here with Lakeith. You could see like it's a loving, affectionate, supportive relationship. We've got artists on one side of the bed, literally, and Tessa Thompson. You've got, I guess, business, new job, newly employed. Lakeith Stanfield here. So you have like business world, corporate world versus art world. That will be kind of combined and explored throughout their relationship and throughout the film here.
Well, and also we're sort of getting a sense of him as
personal life now that we've seen his new professional life starting.
Him is sort of, but him also is a searching personality.
Yeah.
Who is overly anxious, and her is sort of a little more, in some ways, grounded.
Well, I feel like there's like with Lakeith's role here, it's almost like a hasn't found himself yet kind of idea. Like even in the moment here when he talks to his uncle, and he's kind of like shaking the finger at him, says like, you know, you're oppressing, you know, you're my landlord oppressing me or whatever. Like he does it in a way where you're like, I'm not convinced you believe this.
This is one of my favorite gags of the whole movie.
The garage door opens up, and it's not an apartment.
He's not in an apartment. He's living in a garage door in his uncle's house.
Yeah.
So they're just about to have sex, and then I don't know. I'm not getting across. Well, you're watching it, hopefully. So.
Yeah. But it's he comes in like the idea of like you find your voice, literally here within this movie, and then what is his voice? It's like it's Patton Oswalt, you know what I mean, like doing the white voice and whatnot.
Who I think had a role in getting this movie made, right? Like, I think Patton Oswalt was like his
big champion of it.
Yeah, he was a connection in Hollywood.
First introduction to worry-free living, lifetime contracts, guaranteed housing.
You basically a company town indentured servitude set up in the movie, which is sort of a satire.
What about this worry-free shit? What do you think about this? Are you crazy? Indeed. Also, being named Detroit, I think, is saying something. And also, ideally, if you're listening to us right now, I was going to say her awesome earrings. Murder, 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 kill, kill, kill. Tell Homeland Security we are the bomb. These are all direct quotes from the lyrics that Boots wrote for the Sorry to Bother You album.
Okay, then there we get the great Terry Crews as his uncle.
And so here we go. Kind of an uncomfortable little speech. Greedy people like you. He doesn't even have like a full like finger out. He's like not too sure. I'm your fucking uncle. Come on, man. Yeah, speaking of getting it made too, we didn't kind of finish that thought, but so Boots Riley had the script going and the album was out from the Coup, the Sorry to Bother You album.
Yeah.
Got to see them actually on that tour here in Cleveland, which was awesome. Not a packed show, I got to say, but I had a blast. He published the full script with McSweeney's. And so that attracted a certain amount of attention. And, you know, that kind of got the ball rolling. So, yeah, once I heard, like, oh, this went to Sundance and made a splash, I was like, oh, my God, I'm going to finally see the movie that Boots has been talking about since that album came out. This is amazing.
I love all the little details. There's his car with smoke literally coming out of it. There's him.
45 cents of gas.
45 cents.
I definitely remember counting down to the pennies and the dollars getting gas.
And then our needle drop. This is a world. You know what this is? This is like Highlander. In Highlander, all music is Queen. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never seen Highlander.
You've never seen Highlander?
Not to distract this conversation, sorry.
All right, I'm sorry. We have to end this right now.
And then we have also the single. The Needle Drop is the single the Coup put together. I mean, the single for the movie, but then they also, again, did the whole soundtrack, which is awesome. But
yeah, all music on the radio, everything in this will be just the Coup.
Yeah. But also you're driving through, you got like kind of it was billed as like light sci-fi because it's clearly like tent cities have popped up all around, but it's really just reality tweaked up a little bit.
Just so part of I mean the tone of okay, so here we see
first day on the job.
The first day on the job, and he sees the gold-plated elevator and well-dressed people, and then goes into his shithole part of the telemarketing operation.
Yeah, so you can see potentially, because they're going to start talking about power callers here in a minute as he gets his intro to the job.
Right.
And he's already seen like, oh, power callers. That must be that golden elevator I just watched over here. Did you ever do telemarketing work?
No.
Phone banking?
I've done some phone banking, but
it was like in person or was it
political work? So
what's what I mean? But it was like in person, like you'd get together to in a spot to call. I think there's a different vibe when it's phone banking than this.
Totally.
Totally just selling garbage to people.
Power caller.
What? Man, just Boots had just the perfect casting here. Just like some of the best character actor work going on here. The motivational speaking that we're going to get here within the scenes of trying to get the general low level callers here. I like that he has like the Xerox picture of his uncle standing next to his prized car.
All right,
hang up as like your motivational goal to be a power caller is, I want to own a car.
Okay, so now he's doing his first call.
And the visual that Boots comes up with is he's dropped into the scene with the person that he's interrupting. So he's bothering someone.
Right.
And he's physically in the scene with them. Like having sex on the couch. Now you just have a dude at a desk. Again, just like kind of amping it up just a little bit. What can I do to just amp this up a little bit to really highlight
and
the absurdity of this?
Like right in the background, you can see the copying machine like blasting paper everywhere.
Oh, the in-office chaos. And then the call, which you're bound to get, is like somebody who does engage with you, but lets you know, my spouse is dying of cancer, or I just lost someone, I don't have any money, they're just lonely. You are interrupting people in their actual life. Does this also speak to a different time period when people would answer the phone? When?
I mean, were people even answering the phone in 2018? I mean...
I don't think so.
I don't think that's it. I think it's just
maybe it's part of the science fiction element. People with landlines.
Yeah. Well, and you're calling enough, right?
Yeah. Now we're in full-fledged chaos in the office, just papers flying everywhere.
Everywhere, things sticking to things.
I just picture like Boots as one of the people on the set who's helping just toss the papers everywhere in the background.
So he's there with his, what was his cousin?
I think it's his cousin or his friend.
His friend, I think.
Yeah, just hanging out after work. You're decompressing. It's a shit job. You're interrupting people. He's an empathetic person who feels like shit because he's just bothering people to sell garbage over the phone. But once again, they're just hanging out at like a bar where like you and I could go, but there's still a room where you're not really qualified to go into, where presumably all the fun is being had in the VIP room.
So what we've been watching here for the last few minutes is just like one of the most masterful setups I think I've ever seen.
Because you don't feel like it's a setup. It doesn't feel like exposition being dumped on in your lap, right?
And there's so many little zany details. All right, he's just gone into the VIP room.
But what is it? It's cramped.
It's cramped. It's loud.
He doesn't know anybody. But also, it's just impeccably shot where all we're really looking at are like drapes, some colored lights, and too many people kind of bumping into each other and spilling drinks. It's not a flashy, gold-plated, crazy set design. It's simple, effective, and it does what it needs to do.
All right.
Maybe his first hint at like maybe this power caller, this level you want to attain isn't really worth it.
Oh, we've got a long ways to go until we learn our lessons.
Just a little hint there. Oh, and Danny Glover pops up.
Danny Glover, who, not to digress too much, but I finally saw To Sleep with Anger. And we are going to have to cover that movie. Because Danny Glover, I think we all know he's great.
Can be great. He's definitely done some movies where he's paying some bills. Totally fine. He's a working actor. But holy cow, when he is on, he is on.
He's absolutely on. And so here he is introducing the white voice, one of the key conceits of the film.
Yes. And again, character names I think are really important with Boots because he's a wordsmith. He's a poet. He's a musician. Danny Glover playing Langston in this movie.
Ah.
I feel like maybe there's some
maybe
cultural things that
there might be
to highlight. Hey, here's an elder passing on some wisdom. Also, the Keith Stanfield's name, Cassius Green. Cash is green.
So this is
not subtle, but still funny.
Yeah. So here we're being introduced into the way that racial and class politics in this film are melded so beautifully. So what is the white voice? The white voice is not sounding with a white accent, though it might be that.
Well, comically nasal the way
right.
Cassius Green points out. It's the idea of the white voice.
It's the idea of whiteness, the idea
privilege.
Of a sense of privilege and security.
Yeah.
And so it's what they think they're supposed. The literal quote is what they think they are supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and we don't, and it's a taste of a scene. Like it's him, it's Langston it's Danny Glover showing him what he means by it without it being like, okay, now let's see you do it now. Now we get to like, God, the pep talk, the pep rallies at shit jobs. Tag that money, it's a sale. Then he does like the body bag metaphor. Oh, it's so like just amp it up too much.
This is what this is Michael X Summers who plays Johnny the sort of
these metaphors have not been cleared, but and it kind of lets you know by giving him that line of dialogue. One, he doesn't know what's going on with that guy, but also like it's okay to laugh at this. This is absurd. Now we got the new person in who's like, or not new person in, but new person kind of coming into their pep talk. The manager coming in to give the pep talk. I'm gonna maybe whip the call center into shape, get more power callers out of this bunch.
Right.
Separate the.
We're team members. We're a family.
Oh God, yeah, the family. the family talk when you're in meetings like this.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean
We
we get paid more?
What
is
argue
capital,
social
Isaac?
currency now is more important. And yeah, I know, I love it.
Yeah.
Uh
But that becomes a key line. Do we get paid more? Because when was it Steven Yeun's character ends up coming into the picture here, he's like, you asked that key question. Do we get paid more? You want us to do more? Are we going to get paid more?
mm-hmm.
Stick to the script. Do you think Boots was trying to do like an acronym of like shit or something? Like he's got the STTS, like stick. Like I wonder what discarded acronyms were used
STDs,
that he didn't go with. STDs, yeah,
maybe, you know.
Yeah, shit would be too obvious. He'd be a bit more careful wordplay.
And now we have our salt. You know what salt is?
You've told me, but I don't remember.
Salt is a union organizer who goes and gets hired
In the place, does the work.
Yeah.
Organized from within.
Oh, the great Steven Yeun.
As what's his name? Squeeze.
Squeeze.
What is that? How does that play in with our? I don't know. I feel like every character has like something. Character name has something about the character.
Huh.
Yeah. And he does it so beautifully too, because he's like, he spots like he asked the right question. Maybe he'd be open to like, yeah, you should get paid for what you do, right? Little whisper.
So
here's where we're organizing. Here's where we're hanging out.
So this is not actually how you would do a union organizing thing. It's like compressing it.
Right.
But he's noting who.
We've only got 90 minutes here.
Yeah, he's noting who asked this question.
Grabbing a drink on me. So it's not going to cost you anything. Just come hang out. Just see if the vibes work. And then we get Tessa Thompson at her shit job paying the bills, but also kind of having some fun with it. Just out dancing around with a signboard. I do love the way that Boots visually does Cash's car with Terry Crews with his uncle's car. Neither one of them's like, some crazy like, Mustang or like, the white Charger from Vanishing Point or something. But it's a cozy car that Cash is clearly like the dude with a car who gives everybody a ride. He's got a packed car right now. It's actively smoking while he drives it. And the detail of the windshield wipers don't work, but we've rigged up this rope system. Is just kind of awesome. Plus, like, the car's fully decorated. It's kind of a jalopy, but like it's his. He's got tassels dangling.
Yeah.
Inside, he's decorated it. It's his own. It's kind of his only personal space because like he is living in a garage that at any moment can be opened up just to the whole neighborhood to see. Again,
so
a loving, affectionate relationship too. Like, what else are you looking for here?
Well, but Cassius wants more, right?
He wants to not be on the edge of homelessness, I think.
Yeah, but they're talking about like the football team from their high school who still just get together and play football all the time. And it's like, well, hey, they've got friends, right? And it's like, that's not enough for Cassius.
Right.
There's something.
He's actively driving around with his friends and his girlfriend. Like,
having a good time.
And even here, like another Boots thing, like Tessa Thompson's cracking up. Like now it's raining. They're using the manual windshield wipers. This could be a very dour, serious, depressing look how on the edge this guy is. But it's still got like a light comic touch to it.
So we should. So Tessa Thompson's character is a performance artist. Oh, all right. Violent protests at Worry-Free headquarters. So now we're seeing something that you will not see in a lot of movies, which is, basically open violent protests that look like something you might actually see.
Yeah.
And then we see the CEO of Worry-Free, Steve Lift, played by the now disgraced Armie Hammer.
Yeah, noted scumbag.
In a role that actually works just fine for him.
Absolutely. Turns out real life scumbags can just play like capitalist scumbags in movies pretty effectively. It does show that he is now also an author. I'm on Top is the name of his book, and he is riding a horse on the cover. dropping little visual hints. And since we're seeing a little bit of TV footage of the news, the protests, like you said, we're also seeing a little bit of what is TV in this world. We have the interview, but then we also have a crazy, kind of seems like Japanese-style game show.
Where like people are just getting hit in
the
balls,
head,
right?
or like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is... So
we don't really get a good sense of it, but like there's a hint of like something crazy reality show.
All right.
Yeah, pull back to the bar. Now we've got the crew from work.
Talking. But so like the TV stuff, I mean, this is reminiscent. There's some reminiscence of Repo Man. There's also reminiscence of like RoboCop, for instance.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
way
yeah.
that sort of TV is used for
I can see
satire.
that.
We're talking about the white voice, and he's introducing it.
He's trying it out. Got the kind of mystical music.
Mm-hmm.
Kicks in. Whoa, this is otherworldly. What's he tapping into right here? Which is where we get...
Here's to becoming a power caller.
Where we get David Cross coming in doing the power caller white voice.
Mm-hmm.
Does a shot, shakes it off. That was some Puppet Master voodoo shit.
And now our union organizer
It's a scam.
calls power calling a scam. If you work hard enough, you become a manager. Control the sign really well.
Larger sign at a more glamorous corner. I mean, it's a little kind of off-putting, too, because you're like, at this point, Detroit, Tessa Thompson, like, she just met this guy. You'd be like, dude, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little like... So, you know, walks it back a little bit.
And then he
Digs out the pamphlet.
And...
I would love a commentary track with this whole cast, like, reminiscing, because I want to hear, like, some David Cross stories about, because he just was in, like, a recording booth, presumably, like... So now we find out that in 1 month, the whole house is going to be gone. The bank is taking all of his shit. We have Terry Crews. The car in which Cash is kind of dreaming about, working on his own car.
Right.
To keep it going.
I'm sorry. The medicine
Hiding
cross,
the giant cross.
I just
extra little metaphor there. And so his uncle's saying, worry-free is my only way.
Religion is the literal... Anyway.
Opiate, yeah.
So now it adds the extra layer of the pressures of capitalism to reproduce yourself to make the white voice work. Okay, we see him. We see him selling now, and it makes a real big difference.
White dude in some sort of like trendy downtown San Francisco apartment, smoking a joint, hanging out with his telemarketer buddy. Could it be more just like breezy, shooting the shit with his white voice? Another needle drop here. The celebration montage, power calling works, or the
white voice
voice works. And you know, Cash is clearly celebrating. He's on a high. He's like good at something.
And the
what
managers, and you can see the managers dancing with him. I mean, it's so that's just it. Is like the visual language of this movie. This is pure fucking cinema.
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? Like, it's a perfect synchronization between these things to me.
Overtly comic celebrations. They had to have had a blast that day shooting. Just like, all right, guys, start swapping out shirts and sweaters. But it's also, you're seeing like the managers of the call center, like especially the basement here, attaching themselves to like the hot new commodity on their floor.
Yeah,
as well.
And you also see his friend and other employees around him
not giving a fuck.
Well, they're getting annoyed, right? Because it's disruptive.
Yeah, and he's actually, you know, next to his buddy, too. Do we determine as his friend or his cousin? I forgot. I missed the intro of him. But either way, like he's right next to him. He's a guy who should be. You'd think like celebrating with your buddy. But
now he's getting closer to being power caller.
yeah. Yeah, it's the script. There's even the managers are sticking to the script. But
Right.
oh no, Detroit is now at the call center too, with dangly dick and balls earrings. Also, classic style script too, right? Rags to riches. I mean, it's kind of the beats we're looking at, right? What kind of world is it when this is the most popular
show in America, in which basically people get punched in the face for money?
Yeah.
The Senate has just cleared worry-free while there's riots.
Langston, Danny Glover's hanging out with the Youngbloods now at the bar after hours. And it turns out Langston is a fan of the show.
Right. Because we enjoy seeing people get beat down.
Right. Which I think is another hallmark of like what Boots is doing so magnificently here is like all the characters aren't just one thing. There's contradictions here. As much as we love Squeeze, Steven Yeun coming in here, like he's also kind of a hound dog too. Like he goes after, you know, he's a great organizer, but he's also just out chasing women too, including Detroit here at one point.
Yeah.
Not that you need to dislike every character, but you give him complexity when there's like, oh, that's kind of contradictory. I wouldn't have guessed Danny Glover his character would be a fan of the show, but it hints to like a whole interior world for all these characters too.
But it also speaks to the ways the argument of the movie, which in some ways is a little bit crude about the ways that popular culture pits us against each other, right? This is a show where you watch people have pain inflicted on them.
Yeah.
And it helps to sort of break down solidarity in a way, I think, in the context of the movie.
Wait, how do you mean? Within the pain inflicted on you mean?
So part of it is like you have a television show in which you're entertained by the pain of others.
Yeah,
right.
I see what you mean.
So I think it's sort of... All right, so we're finding out...
A very distance pain, too, because you're watching on television.
And we find out the power callers are basically selling shit like weapons and shit. But how?
Yeah, because he's selling like what was like encyclopedias or some shit now, like some like classic books or whatever. Well, when you're a power caller, you're not selling that anymore. It's sort of like the litmus test to see if you've got the goods to sell what really makes us the money. Now we're hanging out with the crew in the neighborhood.
And so part of it is like the texture of the neighborhood. I mean, this is very much like this is an Oakland guy making an Oakland movie.
Out on location.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we've got like the whole neighborhood crew and some work crew mixed in. And
right.
This is the friend group just hanging out on the weekend. I think the TV show, the reality show we're talking about too, where people get, punched in the face for laughs, it does end up mirroring once he gets the like the can of soda thrown at his head as he crosses the line. That we'll see in a little bit. So I think it works into like that violence too, because then that goes viral as a clip. So everybody, if they're used to this TV show where violence is inflicted on us.
And we see Squeeze making his first little move on Detroit.
And her earrings are now someone in the electric chair. With a billboard hanging out behind them. Show the world you're responsible baby daddy. Worry-free. Sign your whole family up for worry-free.
Show the world your response baby. Which is a reference to famous... What's it?
Left Eye.
Well, the famous... that billboard was a famous Black Panther poster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But like also it's public art. It's defacing, quote-unquote, a billboard to make your political point. And we see Steve Lift, the... worry-free CEO.
Riding a horse, which is a hint.
On his book. And now Cash is getting a piggyback ride from Detroit on their way to work, where now there's organizing going on outside.
Okay, so it looks like our union organizer, Squeeze, is doing his first structure test. Oh, 20-minute work stoppage during prop call. I mean, this is... To be clear, in terms of an organized... I mean, I'm not going to act like this is...
He's like, what are we going to say? Fuck you, babe. He's like, no, not that one. The other one. Oh, phones down. Still, like, injecting a little bit of humor into, a great organizing moment. Langston's even in. Like, you got everybody. Multiple generations here.
I mean, if Steven Yeun was trying to organize you, would you be organized?
Fuck yeah. Guy's charismatic as hell. But what would be like a speechifying scene, and he does it very well. Like, there's still these little like these drop-in moments. There we go.
All right, so we see Lakeith.
Yeah, I brought all types of weapons. Wait, what? Like, he's not afraid to just like throw in a zinger in the middle of it, because like we are having fun here, but we're also making a point.
But we can see that Lakeith
is not
actually
really
on this.
Feeling it, because he's on his way up.
He's on his way up.
Do I want to fuck up this thing I've got here?
This is how the working class gets divided.
It is. And then you get this golden elevator reminder visual as he goes into the day when we're gonna like, oh fuck, am I gonna fuck up my chances to ride that elevator? That is totally a Spike Lee shot too, where you're tracking in physically with the camera while you're also zooming out to get that like that interesting visual style there. Actually, I find an interesting note on the visual style of this movie too. So he's seen the golden elevator. Meanwhile, he's taking the stairs downstairs to where he works.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that Boots did fantastically here, like, he's a working artist in a different medium, and he's not coming to this with like a deep, huge, like long film knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
He knows visually what he wants to do, and he's working with other artists, set designers, cinematographer, everything else. That's why he's creating something so unique here. Phones down.
Right, work stoppage.
And the bosses immediately see what's up. These great, again, just be able to have fun. A little insert shot of of Cash's uncle, the picture he has at his cubicle, and now the picture changes throughout the whole movie too. It was just him standing next to the car. Now he's like giving him a fist in the air.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later when he's disappointed, he's just like scowling at him like, dude, what the hell? Great needle drop bit here too. Now we're tossing around papers. So what could happen here is that Cash realizes as a potential power caller, he maybe has some power he could be swinging within this work environment.
Right.
But doesn't. Because, we have a story going here. We need to get up to the power callers and see what's really going on with this company.
So now he's been called in to the office with the managers.
Well, individually, everyone's been taking turns.
Right.
Trying to root out
the leaders.
Cash thinks it's one kind of meeting, and they know that it's different. That has got to feel good. Just screaming, "Fuck you to everybody," because you're on your way out.
And this is a strike breaking. This is a strike breaking strategy that can work. Because now they're turning into a power caller. How do you break a unionizing block?
Demoralize
the
other fellow workers here.
Yeah, by some people get promoted.
Yeah,
and some people get fired.
All of a sudden, the momentum plummets. You can see the whole crew on the outside looking into the office. What is going on in there? I just heard him screaming, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you."
And they're arguing, you're not breaking solidarity with your friends.
Yeah. It's a promotion. It's different.
Right? You're going to be selling a totally different type of product.
Yeah, yeah.
Will you sell out? Will you not?
Top tier of
telemarketing.
Which I love. The top tier of telemarketing is basically arms dealing.
Right.
Again, just like amped up a little bit too much to really get the satire going. And then we're popping champagne. He's feeling it. Does he take a swig? Does he not? Oh, he takes the swig. Oh,
Takes
no.
the swig of the
He's
champagne.
drinking the Kool-Aid, folks. He's in. He's in. Well, then, it feels maybe good for him, clearly. I mean, he's playing it. He's very happy. He's like, oh, my God, I'm not going to be, like, out on my ass. I'm making some actual money here. But can he go home to the people that matter, to Detroit, to his friends, his uncle, and celebrate? No.
So part of what's interesting, like he's acting here. I mean, this is broad acting, right? That's what this movie calls for.
Yeah. First ride up the golden elevator. She's pretty, I don't know if I'd say aggressively, but she's very like, now all of a sudden he's sexualized.
Yeah.
Hot new thing, squeezing his muscle, and pink being a sexy color to wear, and then obviously the upcoming elevator announcement we're going to hear about. I hope he didn't jerk off today or whatever, and we need you locked and loaded.
But look, he's like, I think part of it is like he does a good job of constantly having a layer of worry and insecurity at all stages of the movie because he's just not sure what he wants.
Right. He feels very unsure the whole way through, which also you can tell is like how great he is as an actor, because you've seen other movies where like he's totally in command of the scenes he's in, and very different character. I love that the code here is like 80 digits long.
That's the thing is like this movie, I think you said this before, this movie will do any type of gag.
Yeah.
It just goes for it. Still typing it in.
Still typing. He's getting kind of bored. There we go. Very secure, yes. The only way you would amp that up is like, oh shit, I punched it in wrong, and then you have to do it all over again. But that would be a bit too much. There's a chandelier in the elevator. It's so funny. The top of the reproductive pile. Yeah, I was kind of wondering, do you listen to that every day going to work, or is it different announcements?
Does it do that every day? I don't know.
I think the implication is that it kind of is, but
yeah.
Well, actually, I don't remember. He rides it up a few times. That wonderful. I don't remember if we hear it differently or not. But so now it's like white voice only, right?
Yep. From here on out, that's all you got. We've been introduced to Omari Hardwick's character, Mr. Blank.
Oh yeah, 'cause it's a beep noise, right? Every time they say his name. And this is where we get Patton Oswalt's voice now for the white voice.
Yep.
But it's also very, God, look at that. Like, fucking could be more of the lobby of a tech startup in San Francisco, right? Just people sitting around in an open work environment on benches, taking calls. So now he's working for Worry Free.
And it turns out they're the brokers for Worry Free, right?
Yeah.
So the direct connection that's tying this all together. Are you telling me we sell slave labor?
Companies over the phone.
And he just, yeah, that's great, isn't it?
You're a sharp one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the extra added touch again of Boots Riley being, an Oakland guy. Like the way that the power callers now are being portrayed on the top level, it couldn't be more, Silicon Valley taking over San Francisco kind of.
Very much.
Of approach here. It's skewering. And now we're seeing the, was it Left Eye, I think, the graffiti artist, is now revealed as Detroit. Tessa Thompson
Detroit,
is Left Eye.
part of the underground against Worry Free.
Indeed. A collective of artists that are doing their best to highlight what Worry Free is actually about by, I would say, adjusting their billboards around town. So now we see what really is going on with power callers. We get the introduction video. Rockets being shot off in the background while he sees how much money he's actually going to make. He is now a bought individual. Mm-hmm. He's only speaking in the white voice, and is flabbergasted at the salary, which we don't see. It's just a piece of paper he looks at. Now we get Squeeze hanging out with Detroit on their own.
And they reference Norma Ray.
Yeah. And we get a little bit, as you said, as like the Salt character here, like, oh, it turns out he's flipped a sign before too. He's got some moves.
Mm-hmm.
Which I find like comically obscure Steven Yeun's face. So like we definitely have like
Somebody
this
else
acrobatic
doing
stunt double.
Yeah.
Not like overtly comically, I guess, but like it's notable that like when he's upside down using his feet and he ducks behind the sign.
He organized the first sign twirlers union, which is, I mean, it's just I don't know,
So
it's great
funny.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
And now they're connecting,
Over art.
organizing art.
Yeah. Did we? And so we get the hint that she has a show coming up as well,
And that they are
which is
flirting real
spectacular.
hard.
Oh yeah, he's asking about Cassius specifically.
You sound like a radical.
He, by implication, does not seem
Right.
like a radical. Since she's accepted this promotion, she's uncomfortable with it, so she goes back to, I am actually at work right now, and I'm going to twirl the sign a little bit. Reference to the fake-ass bougie gallery world, too, now from
but
her.
that's just it. Is part of it is that for her,
There's an element to that in that art world that she wants to be. Like, she's in it for true artistic expression purposes, but the world she's in is...
and she indicates the role that Cassius plays for her is as a refuge from what she has to do to be part of the art world. And we don't see this later. She has her own white voice.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
part. Okay, yeah.
And meanwhile,
But they are connecting here. Like, it is a,
they're
like,
connecting.
okay.
He's connecting through leftist language, right?
Bury the rag deep in my face. Awesome earrings. Again, in this scene. I can't remember what song that one's from, but... And now Cassius forgets to pick her up.
Because he's doing the power collar thing. He's got
Yeah.
to stay up late.
Power Calling My Way by Hal Jameson, the instruction manual that he's now like, well, I'm going to get into this job. I love that he's reading like all these professional development style books, but he's also like doing, like, he's also stretching. And now we have fresh out of Power Caller world.
And he's going
Arriving, checking in on Detroit.
checking in Detroit at her new exhibition. Big deal.
Yeah, getting set up for it. Why did you forget to pick me up?
Yep.
I'm a power caller. This is also the first time he's outside of, like, for a gag at the bar, he slips into white voice
White voice.
pretty
and she's
easily.
Like,
and she's like, dude, let it go.
Don't do it.
Kind of in a jovial way, though. But he lets her know, I'm now a power caller.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, too, that that's set in, like, he's letting her know, I guess, professionally, what just happened to him. And he's in her space now where this is, you know, what her passion is, what she's doing.
Yeah.
His
and
job
how
versus
is he
her job
engaged-
kind of thing.
Why did you choose Africa? Invitation, but he's not really
And he's
listening to
drifting
her.
out. I really want to hit off that. And the sound fades, too, yeah. Just really putting you in his mind.
Right, where he is not really listening to the content of what she's doing.
Yeah.
A capital is basically started by stealing the labor from Africans. True.
And then she calls him out on it, which
Yeah.
is great. I had a long day.
And she,
Is sympathetic.
well,
enough.
but she's acting sympathetic, but also you can see
It bugs her.
it bugs her. So
Yeah.
this is the thing, is like the subtlety of their relationship
And also, this is not the first time he's talked about her art with her. Like, that's not the first time he's getting insight into what this is going to be. And then he does mention back to her in kind of a comic way. Yeah, I heard what you said. But did he hear it?
All right, there's his friend leading the Union charge.
Yeah.
There's a picket line now.
Yeah, there's a sign up. They're all together in solidarity.
I'm a power caller now.
Do you do it together, or are you going off on your own with your brand new promotion?
Pivotal moment.
What does he lean on? Which is a totally legitimate reason. My
Right.
uncle's about to lose his house. I have to do this.
But that's what makes this effective.
Right.
So he's now, this is where we've seen it building.
Got some division going on. And then it just goes up a little kind of comic notch here. Now
Yeah,
we're talking
it's
about like,
great.
have a good day. Have a good month.
How-
Hope your whole fucking year's amazing.
How do friends be passive aggressive to each other? But basically he's breaking the picket line. He's saying he's not
Right.
because he's in a totally different division now.
Yeah.
But of course that means he matters all the more.
Are you still going in the building to work? Well, then you're crossing the line.
Yep.
Oh, I should say his name is Salvador. I don't know if that means anything. Again, just looking at the character names here. Cash is arguing with Salvador. Finally, Danny Glover likes to
It's
just like, I'm
enough,
sick of
enough.
this shit, guys. All right. We just done the shit talking. What are you even talking about anymore?
But that's the thing, right?
And the line is crossed.
And the line is crossed. So we've been seeing it building this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it in him.
Which, if anything, okay, then he punches in his number.
Yeah, he's in the
Comically
golden.
long number again. Oh, yeah, so now it's personalized because he put in his code. Okay. Oh, God. This... Hold my penis while I piss on your underestimated...
So it's corporate. It's the way that corporate talk plays on a certain type of machismo that is
yes.
tied to sexuality. You know, but
And I was just thinking, like, the person that pep talk works for, I don't want to be around or know. Again, like the glass box office with just a chair and a footstool in here. Like, this is Boots commenting on all this startup nonsense in
the Bay Area,
and he keeps the photo. The only thing really from like quote unquote, his past life, is his photo of his uncle. A photocopy of the photo of his uncle by the car. Now we get an example of he's still physically dropping into the space with a person doing his power calling. Digging deeper into what he's now actually power selling.
And now he's selling slaves at power work, basically for
worry free.
For worry free to try to get a Japanese phone company to move production to the US.
Them, yeah.
Because we've got cheap labor.
And what does he do? He literally, on the other end of the phone call, is a dude on his toilet. He literally tickles his asshole with the bidet. Cassius does in order to help seal the deal. Okay, just like turning it up just an extra notch.
It's yeah.
You know what the humor style in this movie does kind of equate to in my head? Mel Brooks, like the producers, Blazing Saddles era.
I hadn't thought of that, but you're right.
Like the white voice, kind of to a certain degree. The
so he's just
dropping him into the scenes together, like the visual absurdity that early Mel Brooks had.
He just saved his uncle's house.
Yeah, we get the montage now of like, what does this success bring? He's got a car, it's fucking got neon underneath. He's got some rims.
But that's just it, right? So like, I think that's how many different
swinging by to pick up Detroit for the first time in the new wheels.
Right. So
Well, if it's the first time or not, but
what's
they're
in
still
the
together.
DNA,
Like,
DNA of this? We've got Mel Brooks. We've got. I was mentioning a couple earlier. I mean, there's Putney Swope probably.
oh, Putney Swope is all over this. Yeah. But at this point, he in Detroit in the kind of like a sex montage, which is awesome. Like total Michel Gondry. Maybe there's another one. Michel Gondry, like Eternal Sunshine, Science of Sleep kind of style. There's like stop motion animation going on where it turns from the garage
to
bed
his
where they're
new
having sex
apartment.
to like this great new apartment. So they are still together. They still have, you know, a healthy relationship that we're going to see here shortly is like growing into this is not going to work out anymore. I mean,
Where do the tensions come
crazy
in?
awesome location. Like it's overlooking like little like town triangle here, downtown.
But yeah, so like
But it's this cold like postmodern apartment now. Like
with
meanwhile,
like
cut to the news now when he wakes up in the morning.
there's
Total MTV Cribs knockoff. Where now it's NTV Spots
spots and it's
Worry
it's-
Free.
It's an ad for Worry Free.
showing off their crib. I Got Blanked in the Face is still on, and now Regal View telemarketer strike is huge.
But you know,
You can tell his buddy Salvador was in the back because there's a giant "fuck you" sign that someone's holding up. Like he finally got his voice heard amongst all the other picketing signs. But in kind of a key thing, he changed the channel back to NTV Spots, away from the reality of Regal View and the telemarketers. And then back to the game show. He's actively avoiding the news of what's going on where he works.
All the things that make him feel guilty, but that's all he sees because that is the capitalist world that he's in.
Right. Yeah, we got Squeeze on the bullhorn.
We get drunk at
Spitting
night.
truth.
and
And then it goes one step further. Also showing off that he's, you know, remember he's actively kind of like sort of chasing Detroit a little bit.
Yeah,
he's up for
well, he's a
goes a little bit too far with the speech, you know. We want to hook up and not use
that's
protection,
so
et
good.
cetera, et cetera. You're like, oh, sorry, lost the thread there, guys. Anyway, phones down. Fuck Regal View. I feel like there's like some doses of like maybe like Mike Judge from like Idiocracy.
yeah,
Kind of sprinkled
except
in here
that
too,
like
in a better way.
yeah, with good politics,
with good
as
politics.
opposed to. I mean that's a movie that's really
Just
anyway.
Beavis and Butthead level politics.
Well, at best, I mean, in
At
a lot
best,
of ways,
yeah.
it's practically like eugenics-y shit.
Yeah, kind of is. I mean,
but,
it skewers everybody really, but anyway.
but part of it is so like, I want to like, we're pulling in these. I mentioned RoboCop earlier.
yeah,
I think actually it is, and then Repo Man. I think other people brought that up.
I just want to point out he slips quickly into the white voice when he's with Detroit Now, and he's like, I didn't even realize I was doing it. Like it's just so natural to him. Sorry, but yeah,
That's a
RoboCop.
problem, yeah. So part of it is this sort of, I mean, this movie is wild by I think any standards, but does it also speak to the fact that maybe American cinema has gotten a little bit
Stale.
yeah. I mean, the movie this year that sort of hit at this level. I mean, not these themes or whatever, but would
Like
be
from an indie standpoint, like coming out and making a mark kind of thing, or like a unique voice.
a unique voice.
Are you
Would
say
be
I saw
like,
the TV glow?
yeah, I saw
Yeah,
the
I
TV
was thinking that
glows. I
too.
think that right. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the movie that's sort of at this.
Absolutely. And now we have kind of they've hit the line. Like it's crossed the line for Detroit. She's like, I can't do it anymore. It is morally emaciating your soul. What she told Squeeze, like why she loved being with Cassius
Is
because he was real. He was him. And now
he's not.
he's screaming "fuck you" into her ear, laying in bed. Like, you are becoming a monster.
I mean, to a certain degree, at a very basic level, this is a '90s sellout story. But
Oh my God, it is. Yeah.
Which sort of makes
Well,
sense.
that makes the Rich's theme to it, but
Right.
also it comes. I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to totally interrupt you there. But Boots, musically, coming up through the coup through the '90s.
Yeah,
Like that was a thing.
that's what I mean. So there's a certain generational element to this. At the same time that, since he's an anti-capitalist, this is where the sort of the '90s thing
Yeah.
is never actually anti-capitalist, right? Selling out it lacks a political edge.
Yeah.
But this
Does not.
This does not, right? It's directly.
Well, also, yeah. So picture it from a musical perspective. Boots Riley and the Coup are around in the '90s. He's also very into punk. Even on the "Sorry to Bother You" album, he has, obviously problematic now, Justin Sane from Anti-Flag. It does vocal work on "Your Parents' Cocaine" and is in the music video. So like he's around and knows punk music too, and punk music, especially in the Bay Area, Green Day, Rancid, Offspring. Like you had bands that were blowing up and all these sellout accusations going on in the '90s while he was actively working with the Coup and making music and organizing.
So she has told him that they're going to break up if he crosses the picket line, but also he makes the bullshit excuse that he did this job so he could be more interesting for her.
Yeah,
which speaks once again to like a gender dynamic, right?
that's true.
A very specific gender dynamic
Yeah.
of what you imagine.
I'm the
success
provider.
mean. I'm
Almost.
I'm the provider almost, or an image of what men think making more money means as opposed to what
Right.
their partner actually wants out of them. Because it's actually about you, but you use that gender dynamic as an excuse. What you really want is to be have
Adored and champagne poured on you, apparently.
Right.
Well, yeah, and which, again, it speaks to the way that Boots Riley is presenting these themes and these ideas here. Now, just alone in his bed with the city lights lighting up the whole thing. What kind of existence do you have now? Like you are personally lonely and morally bankrupt, but you are celebrated in your work environment.
Scabs won't pass. He's a scab.
Right, and it is a crowd now, and you got fucking riot cops escorting the power callers into the building with clubs, just whacking people.
And he gets hit.
A soda can just gets thrown. He gets bonked in the head. And iconic from the movie poster now, we get the bandage with like the red blood stain wrapped around his head. We did already get, we missed it, but we got he looks back at his uncle's picture and he's giving him the thumbs down after he crossed the picket line. So again, and we get some censored beep noises going on when he's calling him by his real name. What is this art behind him right now? Like it's just a line going up and then coming down.
It's like
That's
a
purposeful.
chart. It's like a a chart like a chart of business for like
Right. Or I was thinking like
stats or
screenplay, 3-act structure, even like rising climax, then the dating him off the end maybe.
We can see you see whatever you
Boots
want.
is pretty deliberate with this set design here, I
Yeah.
believe. And then also, we get the head of Worry Free is on the cover of Fortune Week or whatever shitty business magazine he's looking at. And also, we haven't really seen Armie Hammer do much. We saw a news clip, and we've seen his image around, but we haven't seen him yet.
So here we have his manager, basically because of his success, his manager, who is also another black person who is constantly doing the white voice, right? Because that's what you do at this
Only
level.
on that level, yeah. It's only white voice up top.
And this is a scene where we're actually going to break through this a little bit and get into these dynamics. So part of it is this is, I think, of this sort of this era of movies that deal with sort of. Oh, all right. Actually, no, he's not at the party right now. He's at
The reception for Detroit's
right
gallery show. Or
so he's watching Detroit.
well, because like they've broken up or they're having a fight, I guess. But he's still like, well, it's her show. I want to be there. I wouldn't miss this for the world. Another great set of earrings, even more comically large than before. Also, champagne at this party. So, like, wants to reconcile. Like maybe he's realizing this was not a good idea.
But what is her role in this?
She did just say no slave auctioneers today to him.
Yep. So here's Fion's there. Like, she hopes he stays.
Yes, we got Squeeze, we got Salvador, we got Cash. He doesn't even know he's gone viral. 11 million views. Such a specific moment reference here. So now, he's a star. They know he works there.
And so they're asking.
So Squeeze is like, what if you
flip,
came to the right side here, man?
You have the leverage.
Right. One, it would help out you and Detroit's relationship if you came to your fucking senses and did the right thing.
So let's watch her performance here.
Yeah.
Her role and the role of her art in this.
Welcome, friends. Full trench coat, glasses. Oh, her white voice. Oh, yeah, you're right. She's doing like a...
She has a white voice.
Proper, like... Is it British?
Yes.
Yeah. Specifically addressing the minerals from cell phones, which he just power called about.
Which, of course, is current moment since there's a brutal war going on in Congo driven by...
Yeah.
At this very moment.
Motown produced movie entitled The Last Dragon. I like how Salvador's like interested, but kind of like, what?
In 2018, I had not seen The Last Dragon. So this is the thing is, I don't totally get.
And then she disrobes the trench coat.
And everybody takes a drink.
Gloves over breasts and vagina, just kind of fully, that's it. And then everyone just takes a drink on cue.
Yeah.
Still has the sunglasses on, though. So what does it mean to have her reciting The Last Dragon with these gloves on? Oh, I should say the crotch covering is a middle finger glove, while people throw bullets and cell phones and condoms of pee, I think, later at
with
her.
Dreams of ruling the world, and with these particular clothes, and also from...
Or is it blood? Oh, it's blood. That's what it was. Yeah, there's more visual. All right, Salvador's
getting uncomfortable,
rubbing his chin like I don't know here. The visual though, like this is
incredible,
an incredible scene. The way it's shot.
Yeah. So it jumps from her top. It doesn't really show her body. It shows her feet and then her face, and then it shows a full
kind of a medium shot of her up. She calls him out for sticking the screw. Also, he interrupts her show.
Right.
So, like, he has feelings for her. Like, and she's getting bonked in the head with
but
cell phone. Like, he just got bonked in the head.
But he also doesn't get it. He's not willing to accept it.
Yeah. And also then ruins her show. Or was this part of it?
And then puts on a
helmet.
cop helmet. Yeah, that Motown quote. I almost need to rewatch the movie, figure this.
So he leaves because he can't handle it anymore. And then it's a hard cut to Armie Hammer doing the most comically long line of cocaine
imaginable.
This side of like Scarface, maybe. And it's all single take too, so I don't know what they have him sniffing or...
So I remember him saying that different... so now we're at the party that they've gotten into because of how successful he's been.
So this is a Wayfair party, or is this at Regal View?
I think this is a Wayfair party.
He just called him sexy chocolate. I don't think I missed that line before.
Well, part of it is this, right? Here we see the racial dynamics.
Plantation owner. He's got a riding crop.
Yes. And
carrying out the horse.
You can only go so far, right? You're always going to be...
Right. Labor. You're always just going to be the worker.
Yes. Well, but also the racial dynamic specifically is...
He's friendly. He's friendly.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Like it.
Also, yeah, the part in when you're introduced to the guy as well.
Yeah.
I'm fucking with you.
And you see that,
right,
his boss.
I want to pick your brain. I need the tips. Kind of, inflating his ego. Also, he just ripped that massive line of, of cocaine. It's
all this
his like
a cunning raccoon, like a coon.
Whoa!
Oh,
like a snake.
I mean, it's the racial. So part of it is. I think. I mean.
I think.
I love.
Yeah, I kind of forgot they were cutting back and forth between the two parties. Also here.
Right. I mean, he does.
And who stuck around to help clean up? Squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Now we're all alone here in the dark.
But I think, so the party dynamic, we're really seeing, I think the way that Boots combines the sort of structural ways that capitalism pushes you and the specifically racialized ways that works for black workers who move up and what you give up and the sort of what we call microaggressions, right, that you're dealing with, but are really not just simply microaggressions, but like the compromises that you have to, the ways that you break up your soul in order to move up in a system like this.
Well, even at the party too, like he can't even be himself. He's still using the white voice to, because that's what got him there. So he's still using that. Meanwhile, like at her gallery opening, that was a place where he could be himself, but he's rejected that. Now we got Stephen Lift, Armie Hammer just sitting around in a very, very white environment.
And asking him to perform.
With women just like at his feet, at both of his sides, over top of him. And now I need you to put on a show for us.
You perform blackness for us now.
Yeah.
You're performing whiteness. So assuming that he has some sort of...
Basically wants a gangster rap story. You're like, you're black, you're from...
Oakland, so that means you have these things.
And he just told... And Armie Hammer just told a story about using an Uzi to kill a rhino. It's like,
but it's like, if you take off the white voice, I bet you can rap.
Yeah.
So I want you to, Yeah, I mean, and part of it is like the most obvious sort of, in a certain sense, the most obvious... awkward stereotypes of, well, a black person can rap, this,
right.
So it's a very obvious racial commentary, but the way that it's been wrapped up until now gives it so much more power because he's given up everything to be the white voice,
right?
To play
this
particular class, racial view, and now,
right,
in the end, they expect you to be this.
I'm not the stereotype you think I am.
Well, he's not the stereotype that you think but part of it is, of course, he's not actually this thing.
But it works when he does what?
He says the N-word.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, hey, because then they're allowed to sing along saying the N-word, right?
Yes.
And he's pointing the mic at them saying, hey, it's okay to use the N-word around me right now. And
I remember at the time that this came out, we have so many sort of discussions around the way that white people interact with black culture and so on.
And look what Armie Hammer's doing. Sorry, but he's like looking around like, oh, he's got this crowd going.
He's got the crowd going. He's seeing this is really effective.
But Cash is also kind of like, what am I doing?
But this is the thing is, like, I think that Boots has such a more complicated and subtle view of a lot of what we were seeing like 2018 in like the popular culture about talking about these sorts of things.
Yeah.
The various ways you get twisted into a pretzel and the ways that sort of a white wealthy crowd is going to react to this.
Now we're in full on eyes wide shut orgy.
Yeah.
As we slowly pull out and he's with nobody. So, and also, I should point out, he's actively bleeding now a little bit more from his head wound. There's like a little drip coming down.
Right, as he's
getting more and more hurt. The damage is really being inflicted here. alone, having a drink in the room here. Well, it's also like I remember first time I saw this, I was expecting him to bust out like a great little bit of a rap here. I thought like this was one of those like he found his voice sort of things because it was written by Boots Riley, one of my favorite lyricists. Period. End of story in hip hop.
But of course,
but no, it wouldn't make sense to do that. The only way would do that. The only reason I would think Boots would do that would be to show off the dialogue. But he makes the right move there.
For the first time, Mr. Blank
uses his actual voice.
Yep.
Calls him Youngblood. Giving him authentic advice on this is an opportunity.
Well, authentic in the sense that this is how you sell out, right? This is how you make it in this system.
Yeah. And Cassius has been drinking during this scene, but it hasn't been. I mean, he looks a little like kind of like hazy-eyed. Like I don't know how. I mean, he's holding his head. The music's a little bit more like whimsical, fantasy, eerie, maybe. I don't know. It's a different kind of music cue. And now we see at the party, everyone's watching his clip where he gets conked on the head because it's that viral.
Which is just a reminder, just one more reminder.
He is kind of stumbling here, so
of how of what he's given up to be this thing.
Right.
He's given up.
Oh, you're right. It's a visual reminder that he crossed.
He's crossed the picket line at every level, right?
This is interesting too, like the visual here, like hardwood walls in this hallway, but with like popping, like lime green doors.
Yeah.
Cash, money? I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see the doors eventually here.
So the direct comparison to like the racial analysis of this would be something like Get Out.
Sure.
And I think that this, in a way...
Same year? When does Get Out? This is 2018.
A year before, maybe?
Okay. Heads up. Yeah, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But also, that's a quick little reference to, like, he's obviously seen the video. He knows what's going on.
So...
in this layer. This is his initiation into the...
by doing a bunch of coke, but...
a swirly of coke on a horse plate that says Mr. Bobo.
Mr. Bobo, is that a reference? It has to be.
Maybe. Little do we know, it's already happened. It's happening in his blood system right now. He just did Hal Jameson's name in quotes, which I didn't notice before.
Mm-hmm.
Corporate lore in order to help sell the story.
More horses.
Yeah, second time through, the horses are everywhere with him. Like, it isn't that... I mean, it's very surprising.
Not subtle,
never mind. It's very surprising, actually, still. But oh, this is where he actually did work with Michel Gondry, right? To do this, like, stop-motion sequence, I think. Okay, now we get the reference. The Jade Door. I gotta take a piss. And then he starts a timer
for him to go to the
bathroom.
bathroom.
Take a piss.
Which is, very much like an Amazon warehouse
I was just
style
say, very
control
I'm the boss,
when
I'm
you
in control.
Control of when you piss.
So he went in through like a lime-colored door, and now he's in what looks like an abandoned YMCA shower room.
Right.
Or no, it looks like a saw.
Yeah.
Kind of, actually. And so we hear can you help me? Guy's in a stall. No, I can't help you, sorry. Which, I mean, does give this scene a bit more of like a little scary. Not scary, but like shocking. Like it's a little more eerie. It's a little...
We're just about to jump into a different type of... Holy shit.
What the hell is this?
And this is when this movie turns into...
Please help me. Please help me. Oh, fuck. What am I looking at? I got a horse head.
We've been playing in magical realism, and now we've just jumped into full sci-fi
Yeah.
weirdness of
Backs up. Here's a couple more in other stalls here. What the hell is going on? So that's the part where I just wet myself. I already had to piss anyway.
Yeah, it was
I'm
just
out.
like...
That's an olive door. That's not the jade door. And now we've got a gun on our employee. Because he can't leave, because what we don't know if we're watching this for the first time, which ideally you're not. Okay, so then yes. I did wet myself. I don't have to pee. You can't let him leave because he's about to be a horse. What is Equisapien? Equisapien?
Yeah.
If you'd have seen this this video, you would have even been scared in there. Does the worry-free logo look like anything to you? Like the yellow-green, kind of has like that waste management kind of company to me, but I feel like it's familiar enough that it evokes a feeling of like, oh, that could be real. Oh, yes, and then we got the great little stop-motion corporate video here. You have like a slightly accented female voice narrating.
Right, but I like the use of nudity here. It's like, it's just you sort of notice...
Bonk out my head, kind
You
of
just
the way
sort
he
of-
got hit in the head.
It's like you just sort of like notice like the boobs in the stop motion. It's just sort of, it feels, it adds to the absurdity layer.
Right.
Like, why is this here exactly?
Especially because there's also the narrator
Yeah.
of it too.
The narrator is a
Lipstick wearing,
ape woman
yeah,
with a
kind of like
British
missing
accent.
link.
Missing link.
Kind of
ape woman
person.
with a-
But what if we didn't evolve into human? What if at this stage we evolved into half horses? Human labor's got limitations. What if these factory workers were as strong as a horse?
So it's human labor, you know, ultimately this is sort of the Marxist core of this movie, is it will focus on labor and production
Right.
in a certain layer, right?
What's more efficient, humans doing this or hybrid humans?
Aqua sapiens.
Aqua? Equa.
Equa.
Is it equine?
Yeah.
Yeah. As an animator, that had been a lot of fun to do that sequence, I think. You're making half human, half horse fucking things? Yeah, basically. This isn't irrational. I love that he plays it that way too, where it's like, yeah, duh. Again, like holding him by gun to finish the movie, and then I'll make my proposal to you. Which also, I mean, that's just good pacing too. Where like we interrupt this crazy fucking thing to confirm. Wait, you're making people horses, and now we get the how will this happen? You take a fusing catalyst via snorting shit.
He's realizing he's already done
Oh God,
this.
oh God. I just snorted some shit.
I like the little detail of the claymation figure is bald and suddenly now they have a full head of hair. Like, see, it'll be great. It's a good way-
Right.
Yeah.
But also wearing underwear, not naked like the half-ape people. What did I snort? Because I'm not even hot. Well, your adrenaline's going nuts because you just saw half horse, half humans.
So it's just what I was sort of saying about Sorry to Bother You is that this, I realize there is a bit of a subgenre of, and the most recent example of this I can think of is like American Fiction, of films that use sort of surreal filmmaking techniques to deal with black people in various positions in American society and how they maneuver in a white-dominated
Right.
space.
Because American Fiction doesn't really do like a white voice, but he almost does like a black voice via fiction.
Well, it's
He's not, but what the white publishing world expects.
It's actually Cash's face a fake rap.
Yes. Yeah.
And shit.
In novel form.
In a novel form,
yeah.
right? But that movie also has a lot of other things going on. But it's sort of like it's a particular line of sort of a absurdist science fiction.
Right.
Another.
Well, this one goes more like science fiction. That one is more just
Yeah.
absurdist fiction. But yeah,
Maybe.
point taken. This is the future of labor. Okay, bigger, stronger, and hopefully they gripe a lot less.
I mean, I think maybe they clone Tyrone might fit within this to some degree,
Yeah.
but not quite. But it's sort of. But this is the one that ties these things very directly to an anti-capitalist line. So we see these.
We need someone on the inside that can suss out if there's any organizing amongst the Equisapiens going on.
We're asking you to be turned into a horse person.
Oh, he can be their salt character, but like in an anti-way where he goes in. Yeah, they create their own Martin Luther King. God, that's such a
of Equisapiens
fucked up reference. False leader for fucking horse people. Yeah, basically. Keep shit simple. KISS. Because you crossed a picket line. Because you've proven that you are this person. You're viable. I do kind of like how he's sort of in awe of him, of how like you tore through this system. You got like the fucking the magic star in Mario. Like,
but it's the sort of corporate pump up lines.
I can see they're freaked out. And then he hands him, here's the amount of money I'm offering if you will be my undercover. He spells it wrong. I'm offering you. Finally, there's no amount of money. 5 years, you're done. Short-term contract. And what's number 2? And I want you to remember this.
And then we get
the sexual appeal of having a horse cock for 5 years because
Yes.
there's a serum that can undo this whole thing and will turn you back. No, it's real. What was his offer? Like $1 million or $100 million, or it was some crazy amount. With like he spelled offer wrong and he drew a smiley face on it. Like,
and
just adding a touch of comedy there.
And the number is just like not actually clear.
Like the absurdity of the Mel Brooks comparison, the absurdity of Springtime for Hitler being the idea. Like that's the grift in the producers.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a tone there that Boots is just nailed here.
I mean, part of it is I mean, we were just complaining about the way the AI kind of sucks, and it just functions as a
search engine.
As a search engine, they're literally going to like blast power consumption into this unclean power consumption.
Yeah,
into
just
the stratosphere.
To get slightly quicker search results.
Just search results because that's the best this can do. So all this elaborate stuff basically for labor control.
Yeah,
and that's what sort of the Marxist core of it is. Actually, everything capitalists do is about labor control.
And now the San Francisco Chronicle is writing articles. People should be worried about worry-free. He's at the center of this. Well, also, Boots wraps it up in like, we just saw horse people.
Right.
Like, and got this like crazy offer of, I want you to be my undercover horse person. And you're like, wait, what? So then he sees that, like, okay, this one reporter is trying to expose worry-free. And he's like, well, fuck, I have the inside dope. Maybe I can make this right. Because he has found where his line is. Okay, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
But they turn motherfuckers into horse people. You sound like a crazy person calling the paper with a hot tip, right? Mm-hmm. Like, no one's going to take this seriously. Because he's so panicked. He's got a head injury. He's still actively bleeding on his pillow that night. The music, again, is that kind of like theremin kind of fantasy sound. And they hang up on him. He can't get the word out.
Mm-hmm. They think it's a prank call.
And now we've got a Halloween outfit for Have a Cola Bitch meme. We're getting a DIY instruction on the
but also
morning show.
But also doubles as inappropriate racist Halloween costume.
Yeah. And now we have National Enquirer going horse people stealing jobs. So like it's a joke. Like it's not, and because it's crazy. And so then now he's outed as like the strike breaker, so everybody knows who it was. And he's going to get checked out at the doctor because he's explaining he snorted some weird powder at a party, showed his dick to everybody who will look. Back talking to Detroit.
Oh,
He called and left a video message for her. And I like how she's like, I didn't check it. It's 3:23 in the morning. I thought it was lewd as shit. So why would I be looking at it? And what do we have here? We've got the video evidence. Oh, because he dropped his phone in the bathroom.
Yeah, the video evidence of horse people.
So what we have now is whistleblower video that can blow this thing wide open, including turn you all into glue, including the CEO here. Could it be more damning video? It's all you need, right? Bring the whole system down.
Okay, so now
Back working with Detroit.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been a while since I've seen this, and I don't remember where things go from here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. The last time I watched it was with a buddy who hadn't seen it before, and his jaw was like on the floor from. I mean, clearly the climax is like the reveal of the horse people, and then we're finishing up Act 3 here, and like his jaw was just hanging open the whole rest of the movie.
This is where the generational shift happens in the movie, where people just lose it. Like, what do you even do with this? I mean,
right.
It's just.
If you're not on board with that climax, you're just like, what are we doing here? But he's feeling the effects of doing the blow, of like taking the serum or whatever the hell is, the infusion agent or whatever they call it. Because he's like, I do feel different. I'm seeing stuff different. I just kind of got freaked out there. He and Detroit are back together. They just had some sex. Seems like he's calming down and kind of cuddle up. Maybe they're not back together. This can't happen again.
Is he?
I like how it's not just like a happy they're back together again. Like,
yeah,
we do need to sort this out.
Yeah, it's like,
granted, we're physically attracted enough to each other. We'll have some sex, but we're not jumping right back into it.
We're not jumping right back into it because you did this thing.
Right. What time span do you think this takes place over? Like a month? No, it's more than a month because like he helps out his uncle, and that was going to be a month. But I mean, it's not years. Like I think it's like within a few months, right? It's got to be. Rise through the ranks and all that. Messed around with somebody, so hey, you know what? We broke up. I mean, also if you've got Steven Yeun there, kind of.
I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
Like,
what are you gonna do?
It's not a hard decision.
Like, I mean, hey.
Hey, I'm newly single.
I can do what I want.
I'm feeling kind of pissed because the most famous line crosser
in the world is my ex. But also, like, I can do what I want. I have sexual autonomy, and you know.
The guy that dug my art piece and stuck around to help me clean up to the bitter end, yeah. And then this is kind of that, you can tell, like, that is dynamic. He's like, is it worse in my head or do I want to know? Do I want to, like, okay, you're kind of just a little too hung up on this, man.
Well, he
still has the bandage, too, with, like, the blood.
The blood's still coming out. Metaphor for everything.
Yeah. And now she's gone. He wakes up. He's in bed alone. And we got a whole, Black Bloc crew running around.
Doing guerrilla art. She's got the earrings, tell Homeland Security we are the bomb. They put up the horse installation with... Is that Kamau Bell?
Yeah, on the left.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't notice that cameo before. Another happy, worry-free family put up where a house used to be.
Maybe the art isn't. Maybe the art is literal.
Now he's recognized down the street as the guy who got hit in the head because you're wearing a bloody bandage on your head. You're not even trying. Now he just gets shit thrown at him when he's on the street.
So this is his lowest point, right?
It's got to be, right? What are you doing chasing a car? Oh, trips and falls right in the street. Lost everybody. Doesn't even have the... we're missing the celebration montages at work. Could be a power caller. Friends don't want anything to do with him. How's he going to fix this?
I mean, that's just it. It's like... It's a reminder that, like, you know, when the big worst stuff is revealed...
Yeah.
If you don't have the power to change things...
Right.
It doesn't matter if people know the truth.
Right.
I mean, it can make a difference.
How can you get the truth out? You can go on Langston, Danny Glover's favorite TV show.
Yep.
And also, I got the shit kicked out of me. But also, you're internet famous, so they're going to book you.
Right.
So use your celebrity to make a socially conscious political point and get the truth out there to people.
You have to go on a
I will
TV
come
show
on
where
your shitty exploitative TV show if you play this clip. Show this clip. If you want some ass, you got to bring some ass. Are you willing to jump in the shit tank and get beat up in order to make your point? Is Boots saying something about...
Yeah. Oh, the blood is just spreading and spreading on the bandage.
Yeah, it's getting even worse.
Is Boots saying something here? He might be.
About maybe how celebrity culture could be used for... And now...
He's literally covered in shit.
I brought a clip that's going to be even crazier than the clip that I'm famous for going viral.
Right.
And now we get the clip. And it's out there in the culture as a laughing point. In the National Enquirer, you know, Equisapiens aren't real, and now I'm actually the whistleblower. Humans into grotesque horse people. Now he's on Larry King. He's on Good Morning America.
Right.
He's making the rounds. Now he's got the bandage off. We just see the scar.
The scar, right?
Yep. Now he's on Late Night with Jimmy. Late Talk with Jimmy. Now he's giving a rousing speech.
He's trying to rally people. And now it's spun as
scientific achievements.
And he's doing and Worry Free is doing stock price goes up.
Yeah. Ringing the bell, I think, isn't that? Even if you get the truth out, we can spin it. Oh yeah, and Halloween. So now he is a Halloween costume. Yeah, we got the street preachers. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess is the Equisapien reveal so shocking and bonkers that in our heads it's just that's the climax. That's the end of the movie.
I mean, I think
it's so jarring the first time. You're like, I didn't know it was going to go there. But he's making amends with the people he actually does care about. Hey, man, we good. I mean, that's a good friend, too, right? You apologize. You went on his apology tour. He did his best. He got out there. He's like, we're good. You just got to make it right stay right from now on.
It's good organizing ethic because you need people.
And then
exactly.
You got the
so
organizer.
This is explaining if you get something so big that you can't deal with it, you just get used to it. We've seen this so many times. Think about the opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
It hasn't slowed down.
Yeah.
But do we talk about it?
Not nearly as much as not when it was the first. We got tired of it.
Right.
We even mentioned on a previous episode, like the when we were at Cedar Lee at the Art House Theater, like the Iraq War fatigue. Now we got a school of kindergartners walking by with have a cola and smile bitch Halloween costumes on.
Every problem that gets to be too much
Yeah.
gets redirected. So he's making a plan.
Yeah, the whole like getting used to it too thing is just people get fatigued when everything's just turned into celebrity memes and moments and
Well, it's exhausting, and there doesn't seem to be a solution to anything. And collective power doesn't seem to be enough. But this is a movie about collective power, right?
Yeah.
So we see that as the alternative to just being overwhelmed.
well, in this part too, the collective power here is an alternative within the narrative of you did your like celebrity media tour to try to get the word out, and all they did was spin it into a scientific breakthrough and the stock got better. You're going about this the wrong way. You need to do the community organizing. You need to work with people. And maybe eventually just organize the Equisapiens because they are super strong and can, start the revolution.
Well,
So now he's on the right side of the picket line, and he gets the neighborhood football guys, the crew together to fight back the cops
that's
and the power callers trying to
right.
break through the picket line. Community
Right.
organizing and fucking up some cops in the process.
Right?
All dressed up in his have a cola and smile bitch costumes, just embracing the image, getting it on the news.
Using it for its original political ends in a way.
Right. Everybody get together cheering. Uh-oh. Now we got the paddy wagon pulling up, though.
More riot
And we
cops.
got more riot cops and reinforcements. Got some, looks like tear gas going. What are we going to get now? Full on.
A full-on melee.
Yup. Well, full on police riot.
A full-on police riot, right?
Yeah.
Shown is what it is, which
Yep.
you rarely
When
get.
does this happen? It happens once the cops show up and start busting heads.
How many American movies do we see proper police riots? It happens.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that vote, that tally. They duck behind some dumpsters. And then Cash is doing the next step of his plan.
Right. As things seem to be spiraling out of control.
Oh, then he gets one
gets
right to the
knocked out
face,
by
which
it.
also they called. I mean, he's famous, but he gets called out as "Hey, Cassius." And gets conked in the head. He's thrown in the paddy wagon. He wakes up, and now it's dark, but it's still going on. But what's going on now?
I know.
What cavalry did he call in?
What can we even
that we didn't get to see?
What can we say about this?
Just the eyes of a black man in confinement, looking out on
On riot cops beating his coworkers.
just like smoke everywhere. Yeah, just brutal crackdown. People running, and we're seeing out the window too, which is a great perspective. We're not getting a big full view of it yet.
Right.
Crowd runs one way, then a riot. What do you say? Paddy wagon. The big truck pulls in. You hear tires squealing, gears are clanging. What is going on here? It's trying to plow through a crowd. Why isn't it killing all these protesters?
as a cinematic,
We get some Equisapiens pushing back the cargo van.
Right. So part of it is, I mean, we have sort of.
Equisapien just beating the fuck out of a cop he's holding in the air.
Yeah, the Equisapiens coming in. So the proletariat that you created
Yeah,
to work for you
as the ultimate slave labor,
is in fact
rebelling.
you can never the ultimate contradiction
There we
of capitalism,
go.
right?
Big ass naked Equisapien breaking
Right.
Cassius out of his chains. Literally. Wow. Honored to be in your presence, as if he's an alien. He doesn't talk regular. Cassius Green. No problem, man. Again, like that, Boots isn't afraid to do some comedy while a talking Equisapien horse.
Do some comedy
there,
while
you know what I'm
talking
saying?
to horse.
It's Equisapiens out.
It's just
I love that they're still just like naked running around too. Like there's so
like
many
they
layers
could
of
have put on
comedy here to
pants
this.
by now, but
Yeah.
no.
The fact that he talks to him like he's an alien who maybe would understand if I just speak slow English to him. Mastermind. Interesting. Look, he's giddy.
Right. So then they're like,
They're about to have the best sex of their relationship this evening.
so, but part of it is so like if they both characters represent different elements of Boots' sort of artistic approach. Right. I mean, I think that's what he said. Like,
yeah. Like a yin and yang kind of character dynamic here.
So now his friend has the nice car.
Yeah.
And is
Which he
just,
gave
well,
him, right?
Okay, yeah.
He's making right. And he actually says sorry. But also, like, he does have the means.
Right.
So, like, yeah, I can help a friend out.
Well, he does for now. I mean, now he's living back with his uncle.
But that was financially resolved, though, with his uncle. So, like, that's a stable, like, I'm okay here. So they have a union now for the telemarketers. He is going to go back to the job.
All is quote unquote well in this capitalist dystopia.
I mean, if someone's done telemarketing, it's still a shit job. But at the same time, he's, back open the garage door. They're unionized now at least. He does have a chain. He's got a nice little. He's like, I'll spend a little myself. It's all right. I'm earning. Back with Detroit.
Changing the world. Building unions. Collective action.
I like how he brought some of the fancy shit from the fancy apartment back to the garage.
Right.
So
it's the fancy bed, the fancy art.
Kind of like, yeah. But I was like, this is not the size of the garage. And then they've adapted the picture one last time. So Terry Crews is literally kicking his heels together in front of his car. Oh, but he smashed his nose when he shut the door. Damn, that would hurt. Oh, no. He's got a horse nose now. Cut to film by Boots Riley. Phone rings. Because people in the theater got up to leave. Because people just feel like, oh, okay, film by Boots Riley, whatever.
But they do it quick, right? The switch over to the...
there's no casting or anything. It just cuts to Armie Hammer kind of limping around in a fucking Christmas Carol Ebenezer Scrooge gown.
It's like... It looks like a Gadabea.
And now we got Cassius Green as an Equisapien with his Equisapiens right outside the gates, ready to storm the grounds. House alarm goes off. Door kicks open. Cassius comes in. One more needle drop of the coup song, the title song for this one.
So I think that, one of the things that's been interesting about watching this he was working through all the influences and all the sort of cinematic world that it's playing in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a particular moment in, I don't want to just sort of say black cinema, but like certainly...
I mean, it was how it's billed.
Right. It's how it's billed, and it's dealing with a lot of those themes, but also incorporates them into a sort of blatantly Marxist message, not, deep, every little theoretical bit, but yeah. and combines it with surreal absurdism,
right,
and
comedy,
comedy
there too. Yeah. But in a way, which I think I was kind of mentioning while we were watching it, but in a way too, where because he's not making this as a film geek, he's making it as an artist and as a poet, and as an organizer, and as an activist. He's pulling in like influences that aren't just like film nerd related. You know what I mean? When you hear like a Quentin Tarantino talk about his style, it's all like movie related.
right.
But within Boots Riley's world, it's like whatever art interests him. Like he was even talking about how he called up some cinematographer. He credited who it was. It was the cinematographer for I think it was the Julie Dash movie, Daughters of the Dust, and was just like talking to him about. And he was like, "Yeah, we talked for like 2-3 hours, just like speaking like artist to artist, like what was your inspiration?" And and Boots was pulling in stuff that wasn't just film related, I guess is what I'm saying. So he wasn't makes you not unafraid to take swings at it. Like, well, what if we did this? What if we cut to this? What
And
if
you
we did
can,
it this way?
you can totally feel it in the
And it
visual
feels
language
fresh,
he's using.
because
Yeah,
you're like, oh, that's an interesting way to do that.
I mean, I think, the use is sort of we have literal performance art in the film as part of the plot.
Yeah,
but it feels like performance art overall.
Right, because it's not like you get the gist of it, but it's not really clear the ins and outs of it, like why she chose that, the film
Right.
to recite, and then why this, like, okay, there's something with cell phones, and we talked about mining cobalt already, and what are the bullets? Okay, that's like a tool of war. Like, so it gives you like some vague things to try to analyze, but
Yeah. So we finally covered Sorry to Bother You.
we did.
Okay.
Well, so one thing as the credits go here, one thing I was thinking of as we were watching this, but I wasn't trying to find I didn't find a good spot to bring up. We were referencing the San Francisco boom of the 2018, 2019 with this one, Last Black Man in San Francisco, Blind Spotting, Moonlight winning Best Picture in 2016.
Moonlight is absolutely part of this.
That's got to be, especially when we were working at the Art House Theater, as you're mentioning, kind of like that boom or interest in like quote unquote black cinema.
well, and I mean,
I think that was such a propulsive thing within film culture and film geek culture too.
Right.
Moonlight doing what it did. Also, Moonlight just being a straight up fucking masterpiece of a movie.
Well,
as well.
I mean, it's a direct reflection of the momentum of BLM at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I think sometimes at this point we talk about BLM as the 2020 moment, but of course it had already sort of shaped the environment, and in a very complicated way, in sort of the neoliberal success story of Barack Obama, in which you have a black president who's incorporated himself into the system, and then you start having movies about black people trying to manage themselves within sort of the racial capitalist system.
Sure.
And so I don't think, I think all these things are playing into this moment of sort of increased cultural space for this sort of filmmaking.
That's the way to put it. Yeah. Yeah.
Which,
and at the box office and the award circuit,
doing quite
it was
well.
doing good.
And I think, if any, like that, the momentum of these movies haven't disappeared.
No, not at all. Yeah.
But I don't think we're in that moment in the same way. We're in a more reactionary moment in a certain sense.
Yeah, and it's also, as we've talked about before too, it's so fractured now too, where there isn't really like the death of the monoculture, blah blah blah. Like, Boots went on obviously after this one. If you're unaware, he did I'm a Virgo with that streamed on Amazon. Fantastic series, kept with the whole kind of magical realism, where like it tells the story of this guy who's like 13 foot tall, and like how do you get through society with that? Like, it is inherently goofy. It's saying a lot politically and culturally and sociologically, and has that fun tone that Sorry to Bother You has as well. It didn't quite make the splash that Sorry to Bother You did because it was just streaming on Amazon, and if you don't find it or you're not around like the initial marketing push for it, it's going to be lost. Barry Jenkins, again, just to follow up with Moonlight. Wait, he also went to Amazon too. He did the Underground Railroad.
Right, which also had a sort of
fucking
similar,
fantastic, but
sort of gets dropped in there though.
it doesn't get the cultural cachet or like it doesn't capture the moment the way like Sorry to Bother You in theaters grabbed people for a moment there,
and the same way Moonlight did,
and the same way Moonlight
so
did.
So
it's all just fractured now, and
it's a very difficult moment in some ways because film isn't quite doing
what it used to do.
What it used to do even in 2018.
I was going to say, as recent as 2018, yeah.
And
on
then
top of it.
TV also kind of isn't going to do it either. Yeah, it's a very sort of tricky thing to see where the momentum built by this is going to go. I mean, this is also, this is a blatantly anti-capitalist movie.
Yeah.
The fact that it's being made and it can make a splash says something about that moment.
Right. Absolutely. And like we mentioned too, the way that it became a work of art on its own, from like concept album by his band, and then wrote a script, published a script, which is a very unusual way to get your thing into production, is like publish the script ahead of time. But people were like, oh my God, I want to see this. And then that opened up, I went to like the Sundance Lab, worked with a lot of other filmmakers too. So it was also something that it had time to percolate as like a concept album, and then as a script, and then going through changes, and then doing read-throughs with certain actors, and then getting more ideas, then working, or like we even mentioned, the fact that Boots was like meeting with other film artists and kind of talking about ideas, like ideas about cinematography and how to use this, and then how could we do set design, what are we going to do, what kind of color palette are we working with,
right?
The like he perfectly captures the basement, because they go downstairs to work initially in the telemarketing space when he first gets the job. It's that like olive green, like just neon, or not neon, but fluorescent lighting, just everything's just, it's sucked out, like there's no real good color palette there, like it's just so drab and just like versus when you go up the golden elevator to the power color area, it's all like open floor plan, glass office spaces, very, like we said, tech startup sort of thing. He got to kind of workshop all these ideas over years,
right,
and do something with it. So I think by the time you get to actual production, it was like, yeah, I've been thinking about this idea for years.
There's nothing.
It's so refined. I'm ready to hit the ground running.
And yet at the same time, it doesn't feel it's both refined and unrefined at the same time.
Yeah,
like there's a real messiness, which
like
I think
scrappy, yeah,
which is a spot that some people sort of critique in a certain sense. I don't really agree, because I think that's just it. This is the sort of movie where you throw everything at the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a point to every single scene, but I think it's his ability to always be having some fun.
Yeah,
with it that really helps for me. I did pull a couple of negative critical quotes. If you want to wrap up with
negative,
some negative, because
okay, yeah.
we obviously adore the movie. It made perfect sense for us as we were like, hey, we got a 100th episode. We want to do something different and special, and something that we're both very, very passionate about. So I did write down one good one. I believe it was David Elric at IndieWire called it a millennial Putney Swope, which I think is a perfect. Pull that out and shove it on your poster. That is amazing. That's what you want to have.
Insult? I don't know.
No, he was positive. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll start off with a positive one. One was, and I didn't write down who it is because I want to I just thought it needs to be comical. I don't need to call out specific film critics to you're wrong. But
name the. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Quote: a gag gone wrong. Too many things at once and all never hitting in any real way.
It might be too many things, but that's not a bad thing.
I kind of feel like all of them hit. So that one doesn't really work for me. But I was like, so were you just busy trying to take some notes and you just missed a bunch? Because there's nothing really, there's no threads that are introduced that aren't wrapped up. There's even a narrative arc of Terry Crews who isn't really even in the movie except for 2 scenes, because his picture changes around Cassius the whole way through, commenting on his approval or disapproval. Quote, by the time the scream, gasp, and giggle sci-fi climax arrives, we've lost interest in what happens to this hero or this mug of a movie.
Well, okay.
Did you ever lose interest? I mean, I feel like that's more like a cycle onto your watching it if you lost interest in this.
I mean, I guess that's what all critics can do, but losing interest.
It's,
people can hate it, but they're not losing interest.
No. You cannot accuse us of being boring or it moves at a. I mean, it's perfect pacing. I think. I mean, it's a 5-star, perfect, no notes kind of movie to me, but it's never boring, or uninteresting. The last one I grabbed was telemarketers as targets from which satire flows eternal were spigoted about the same time as the mall cops. And then the critic, I didn't write, it was a longer paragraph, but goes on to compare this movie to Paul Blart Mall Cop for its juvenile level of comedy.
All right, you got to name names on this one. Who? What?
I didn't write it down. I'm sorry, but it was it was just I was not. I kept reading because I was like, no one has compared this movie to Paul Blart Mall Cop. What were you watching?
Well, somebody needs to take your card away. You're done. So
You don't get to review movies anymore.
So let's just wrap this up.
Yeah,
This is a leftist movie.
absolutely.
This is, I think, one of the most interesting and important leftist movies to come out of the American film in a very long time. Reflective of a particular political moment, the rise of sort of anti-capitalist politics in the 2010s, and also the rise of space for a particular type of black filmmaking, and also the rise of a racial analysis that can combine. It sees the purest integration, the co-constituting nature of sort of capitalism and racial structures, right?
Yeah.
It's also just fucking wild.
Yeah, it works on every level. Everything it's trying to do, I think it works. I mean, if you want to just say, like, it's a great comedy. Yeah, it's a great comedy. It's a stellar comedy.
Yeah.
If you're a science fiction fan, you'll be interested by the end. I guess,
Right.
maybe, but, like, it doesn't shy away from leaning into any kind of genre tropes it wants to as it goes along.
And its references are wide. You don't have to get them, but they're all there, right?
Yeah.
It knows exactly
What it's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every step of the way. And also, again, as we said, it was also a hit.
Yeah.
It cleaned up, like, well, not necessarily like festival wise, but like Independent Spirit Award. Like it was noticed by critics, and it was lauded that year it came out. Made for about $3 million. I think it made 20 or so. It hit all the markers you need to keep a career going in Hollywood, which he did with I'm a Virgo. I eagerly anticipating whatever Boots works on next.
Yeah.
Because he has maintained his voice and his vision through both film and television products now. I'd love another Coup album any day. That'd be great too, but he is definitely an artist who, whatever medium he's going to be going into next, I'm on board with.
Yeah.
So, sweet. Well, that'll do it, folks. Hopefully this was somewhat enjoyable for you. Again, obviously watching this along with it, not the first time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is key here.
Thank you for celebrating our 100th episode.
Yeah.
By watching this movie with us. Hopefully you did that. If not,
Hopefully you got some joy out of just listening to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be weird to not watch along but listen, but that's fine too. And I guess we'll see everybody with our next episode.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, as usual, stay safe out there. And as I've been saying for nearly a year now during the ongoing genocide in Gaza, stay safe fighting what is an overwhelming, dehumanizing racial death machine. We're at an incredibly difficult moment in which repression is increasing. You get repression from any side of the political spectrum. Obviously, the mainstream political spectrum between the fascist right and the liberal left that's happy, the liberal center, which is happy to play in this sort of authoritarian pool while offering itself up as a meager gruel against its advance. And, presidential election years are always sort of the hardest moment for threading these needles and figure out where to go. But we have a path, and that's to keep up the pressure. I will say this, that a lot of countries have actually, including Germany, amazingly enough, have cut arms sales to Israel, or increasingly are doing so. But the one that matters is the United States, so we have to make that happen. Stay safe.